Hi students, welcome to the Plant Materials and ID Field Lab activity. Our objectives include identifying and naming leaf and stem structures and learning to describe them in enough detail in order for you to identify plants to species in the future and to explain that to others, and also to reinforce what we've learned in lecture about binomial scientific naming of plant species. Go out and examine some plant materials. Identify their nodes, internodes, and axillary buds. Of course, this is far easier for actively growing herbaceous and woody perennial crops and landscape plants. It's a lot more difficult on woody plants that shed their leaves in the dormant season. You'd be hard-pressed to tell the difference between a peach tree and an almond tree in winter. Leaves are so common in our life that we tend to forget that they're an important way to identify crop plants, to distinguish between closely related species, and even to distinguish between cultivars that are genetic variations within the same crop. For AEPS120, it's enough to always think of leaves as having a blade with their associated venation pattern and a petiole. Note the arrangement and the petiole attachment to the shoot or stem. Stipules that grow at the base of some leaf petioles can help distinguish one crop from another if they are present. Important crops like pea and alfalfa in the Fabaceae family have stipules. Stipules present on some citrus crops and not others can help identify the citrus tree when there are no fruit to guide you. Take note of and describe whether the leaf is a simple leaf or whether it's a compound leaf. Draw and record the pattern of leaf attachment to the shoot or stem. Is it opposite or is it alternate? While we're certainly not all good artists, record in words and do your best to draw the leaf shape and the leaf margin. For example, a Spanish speaker will recognize that cordata is a Latin word meaning heart-shaped. It applies to cordate or heart-shaped leaves. There are lots of crop plants with serrated leaf margins, like a serrated bread knife blade. Don't worry about trying to distinguish between, say, serrated and dentate. Just do your best. You're not required to memorize many botanical leaf terms. We're just describing the shape and the margin to memorize identifying some plants and building a vocabulary for your future. Draw and note the pattern of leaf veins. This trains you that the first time you encounter a new unknown plant, you can immediately distinguish between parallel venation present in monocot plants and netted venation of dicots. For example, grain crops, onion and garlic crops, lily flowers, bamboo, and palms are all monocots with parallel leaf venation. Dicot plants have some variation of netted venation pictured on the slide. While venation pattern is an online quiz question, you'll have no trouble because the format this quarter is all open book quizzes. Also note the presence of trichome hairs or whether the leaf is smooth. Anyone who has ever hiked through a patch of stinging nettle or has a livestock pasture with horse nettle is certainly aware of leaf trichomes. Most times they help the plant and don't affect us. If you're examining a woody plant shoot, don't record structures like buds, leaf and vascular bundle scars, and any notable bark pattern. Color and texture should also be noted. These will all help you in identifying a plant. For example, I happen to like eating persimmons, and persimmon tree bark has a small, blocky, textured pattern. Bark lenticels, visible in the bark of some trees, should also be noted. They help the tree in gas exchange, and you'll commonly see lenticels on fruit trees and ornamental cherry trees. The correct way to write species is always two words, the genus and the specific epithet. This is reinforced in lecture and again on the online quiz. An epithet may also be a person's name, often the person who described the plant. Here's a typical example. It's a rose. It's the genus Rosa. What does the epithet canina remind you of? Well, what does canine refer to? Anyone with a pet dog knows Canis is the genus of dog, wolf, and coyote. This rose is the dog rose known for centuries in Europe. I have no clue why it has that name. It's a wild rose that climbs buildings and has become naturalized in parts of California as a weedy plant species. In commercial horticulture, but not in botany, there are classification levels making room for cultivated variations of species. Non-ag folks are sometimes surprised to learn that all commercial crops pictured here that they think are different are in fact all members of the same species, Brassica oleracea in the Brassicaceae family. A hierarchy called cultivar group has been created within Brassica oleracea because so many genetic cultivar variations exist from selection and breeding. These Brassica oleracea food crops have been maintained as true breeding populations over centuries and even millennia, dating from Greek and Roman times by selection. In the case of Brassica oleracea acephala group, acephala means headless. It refers to the leafy kale group of cultivars as distinct from, say, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, or cabbage. In cauliflower, botrytis means grape-like. The particular cultivar pictured is one of my favorites, Brassica oleracea botrytis group cultivar cheddar, from its cheddar cheese color of the buds. It contains healthy beta-carotene pigment, which is pro-vitamin A, in its bud cells. Let's close with a plant growing widely in patches on campus, known as devil's porridge or poison parsley. It's poison hemlock. I snap these pictures where I park my motorcycle on campus every day, and if you jog or walk or hang out near the dairy or livestock facilities, you'll see it. The name is Conium maculatum, maculatum meaning spotted, and it's in the Apiaceae family of plants that make flower umbels. The leaves look similar to carrot, celery, cilantro, or parsley crops. This is the same poison hemlock that Plato famously wrote about in the death of his teacher, Socrates. It's supposedly the plant the ancient Greek authorities made into extract teas and used for their state executions as capital punishment. Apparently, the authorities did not like what Socrates was teaching his students. It's become escaped around the world and around California as a weed. Studies indicate toxicosis when a horse consumes about 0.25% in fresh weight of their body weight and about 0.5% in cattle. In a 1,000-pound animal, that's foraging on 2.5 to 5 pounds of plant material. If you have this weed in your pastures, spray it and get rid of it. Okay, so now go ahead and take a break to view the field ID activity slides.